So I'm not sure what this is going to turn into, but I was sitting here thinking that with everything that's gone on and the people watching and whatever, like I'm in my house, I'm doing things that people do in private, right? When, I mean, nobody should be watching us in private, but so I'm over here doing things. I mean, it's not like I'm doing completely raunchy things, but or maybe to other people they are, but it's my home. If I want to like walk on my hands with my legs spread in the air, I should be able to do that. I can't. And if somebody can actually do that, that would be cool. Like, can people do that? I know people can walk on their hands and have their like legs up in the air. I'll have to look at that. I'm curious now. But anyway, so I'm speaking out loud and being like, whatever people do, that's not within my control. I only have control over myself. And if people are watching and listening, then that's on them. And guilt and shame can kill you or bring down your life very quick. I lived in guilt and shame for many, many years. And I have to turn this down a little bit. It killed me. I mean, talk about guilt and shame from trauma, and then couple that with cheating on my ex. Well, I mean, when we were together, I cheated on her. And carrying that kind of guilt and trying to hide that secret, it ate at me. It just started to destroy me, and that's definitely to have that. If you've gone through something to where you're harboring that guilt and shame, then you know that it will eat at you, and it dims your light just a little bit every day. At least for me it did. I mean, I say you, I talk in the third person. I say you, but I don't mean like you specifically. I'm just, we talk in we. Apparently, when I talk in third person. The guilt and shame that I went through and harbored during my marriage was at times unbearable. And that was even after going through significant trauma therapy. Cheating on my wife, I think I completely ruined the marriage and what it truly could have been. I mean, what it truly could have been, I don't know if I'll ever know, because I think I ruined it in the beginning. I really suck with dates. So let's just say I got married in 2013, divorced in 2024, came clean in 2019, confessed because it was asked, did you have an affair with said person? Yes, I did. However, she knew. I mean, you could, people know. I think intuition plays a big part in everyone's lives, no matter how intuitive you are, but you kind of know when things are off, right? So married in 2013, I think the affair started in 14. I honestly don't recall. I think I blocked out a lot of the dates, and the length of time, and just, it was wild in so many respects. I need to pause this a moment. Okay, I'm not sure how much I should share, due to the privacy of others. I want to be respectful of other people. I mean, this is my story, yes, and I'm like not naming names, but people who know, like, they can piece it together. And I just want to be delicate when I speak about things, because maybe other people that were involved don't want me to share such intimate details. I mean, but it's not details about them really, right? It's all about me. So I'm just navigating what to share and what's appropriate. So I ask higher self for guidance for this, but that guilt and shame was really, really tough. And I don't think I knew exactly what the labelings were, but going to therapy, I mean, I was not a nice person. I treated my spouse horribly. I fucking hated her because I loved her, but I fucking hated her at the same time. not only from the affair, but it's interesting that relationship. It's a mirror, right? I think every relationship can be a mirror of sorts, and we can learn from that person. But my marriage to my first spouse, maybe there will be another. I'm open to it. I am. But that marriage, I still love her. I care for her deeply, love her deeply. It's just, for me, our time together had ended. But she was the one I was supposed to go through that journey with. I just knew it. I can't explain it. I just know it. I keep looking at my hair and it's so flat because I was outside for a walk, and that's okay. Anyways, so the guilt and the shame was a lot to bear, and that followed me through almost to the end of the marriage. And I think a lot of it I had cleared myself, and I was good. Like, in 2019, when I had confessed and said, answered, yes, I did have an affair with this person. And, we decided to have a clean slate. And, but once that trust is broken, I know I've spoken about it. I don't remember if it was on another platform or, I don't know, another video. I don't know. But once that trust is broken, I think you can get it back. I do believe that. I do believe that people can heal and rebuild, and even rebuild stronger. But that wasn't the case with my marriage. From my perspective, I was able to go through the trauma work and heal. And usually when I'm done with something, like, I'm done, like, I've healed it, I've moved on, and that can happen pretty quickly. Because what's the point in hanging on to it? I was going through trauma therapy. I learned that, like, all the shit I had hung on to, wasn't serving me any greater good. So I was like, why am I going to hang on to that and ruminate and revisit and revisit and revisit? So I had to move on in my marriage, but my ex, I believe, was stuck somehow. There was some kind of barrier that she wasn't able to move past. And that's okay. That's 1,000,000% okay. And that is her right. And I respect it. But like I said, I had healed and moved on. But I think I just knew somehow she didn't and wasn't able to. But I hung on. And it came to light that indeed she couldn't let it go. And that's okay. So when I heard that, and it was after I said I wanted a divorce, I felt really good about making the decision I made and making sure that I made the divorce as quick as possible, because once the decision was made for me, I had to move quickly because I did not want to go back into the marriage at all, because I knew if I gave myself any little buffer of time, I think I would have changed my mind. Similar to the way that in 2010, when I had been stuck on pain pills prior to 2010, but in August of 2010 is when I went into rehab and I got sober. Disclaimer, I'm not sober anymore by choice. I was sober for 14 years, but I had gotten addicted to pain pills and I went into treatment. And there was just that one moment that a different ex of mine, who I wasn't married to, was sitting on the bed, and I almost just said, I'll be all right. I don't need to go to treatment. I would not be sitting here today if I didn't go to treatment. I just know it. I can't tell you what my life would have looked like and how it would have unfolded, because that path was not the one I chose. However, I do know that if I had not went to treatment, I would be dead, because I would have not gotten off the substance. And anyone who's been addicted to a substance, for me, I'll just keep it in pain pills, because that's really what I was addicted to. But the withdrawal that you go through is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't really want to get into the detail. I don't want to romanticize it. But imagine having the flu times 1,000,000, and then maybe another 1,000,000 more. It's, I don't know. I think I'd rather go through childbirth on fire. And I've never been in childbirth. and I don't plan on ever getting pregnant. I'm totally open to having kids and dating somebody with kids, but I don't think my body's ever going to bear children. Hopefully I'm getting to the point of menopause, so I hope so. Yeah, but that pain, that going through that is awful. So that's one thing that kept me stuck on the pills, is the dependency upon them. So just that one little moment could have changed my entire life and ended it probably in the same breath. So how does this tie back into marriage? Hold on, I need a minute. Guilt and shame. So, the guilt and shame had been building in my life for many years, okay? Especially because I said I had trauma, right? I'm not going to go back to how far. I'm just going to leave it general today. So dealing with trauma, the pain pills, it's like you see layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, and it just kept pushing me down. So I got sober in 2010. 2010, I'm like trying to, so when I met my ex-spouse, I was newly sober, like brand fucking new, right? We became friends, feelings were mutual, some kind of attraction, whatever. Then we separated. I got it like a year and a half sober. I think it was a year and a half sober, or a year, something like that. I told you I was bad with dates. We reconnected and started dating on January 1st, 2013. Got married November 2013. So, I mean, you see the timing. Like, I wasn't a very healed person at all by any means. I still had a lot of shit. So when I say the guilt and the shame, right? So then, I mean, we got married in 13, cheated on her in 14. That whole thing happened, then the whole guilt and shame. So I think I just started talking about guilt and shame, and anybody who's dealing with that, man, it's tough. It's tough, and I empathize deeply. But I'll tell you what, the only way to go through it is to go through it. Fucking grab it by the horns. Take that bull and just fucking grab it and go through it. Don't just go through it just to get through it, but dive in. Find out, like, what is it? Like, uncover yourself. Get to know yourself. I encourage you to do that. And it's scary. I can't even tell you how many years I was in therapy for. But I was really dedicated. I was going twice a week for a bit, and then, once a week, and then eventually stepped down. But dealing with that, and then dealing with the lashing out and the anger and the hatred, like I gave that. I put it all on my spouse. So the affair, I know I might be jumping around a lot, but it all just ties back into the guilt and shame that I didn't deal with from childhood all the way up through, right? And then getting married, having a partner who also was not, from my perspective, not the most healed version of themselves. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I went to therapy. She went to therapy. We went to therapy. But still this cloud of this affair that I denied, hung over our marriage. So I take ownership. I fucked it up. And I really hoped that moving to a different state would help give a fresh start. But it didn't. I mean, ultimately it ended the marriage. Not that moving had anything to do with that. It compounded the issue. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So I wanted to talk about guilt and shame, right? So I think I finally let go. There was a tarot reader. I reached out to a tarot reader, and one of the first things she said to me before we even started the session, and I hadn't reached out to a tarot reader in a very long time. She said that whatever I was holding on to from the past, I had to let it go, and I knew exactly what she meant. And once I after that session, I made that decision to let it go, like completely, because I could say I let it go, let it go, let it go, which I did several times from 2019 to 2024. And like I said, once I move on from something, I'm pretty good. But it's interesting because I knew my spouse couldn't let it go, as evidenced by the flow of the marriage, based on my perception, right? So there was just a disconnect, something that couldn't be, I ruined it. That's the way I see it. I ruined it, and I couldn't get back what I had ruined. So once I made that decision to let it go completely, and it's like, yeah, you know what? I do need to let it go. Things just like everything just fucking fell into place so divinely. And now, I mean, now we're in February of 25, and my life, going through a lot of weird fucking shit. Never expected to go through what I've been going through as of late. I really, if you would have said to me 6 to 8 months ago that my life, I would be going through this, I would have said, you're fucking crazy. That doesn't make any sense, and how would that even be possible? But when you ask God, or universe, or whatever you want to call it, to hey, let's be the highest of high that we are destined to become. Yeah, I mean, it's like I have no words, seriously, because although it's been an interesting ride, and it certainly wasn't packaged in a pretty pink box with an amazing pink and white bow on it, but it definitely has leveled me up in so many different ways. I have gone through at least 2 major ascensions spiritually since August of 24. A lot of different mini things as well. Very emotional. Feeling my feelings in a way, like a capacity that I never have felt before. And I don't know if that's because of all the therapy I went through, and that I'm alone, right? I'm in my home. I'm in my home. I'll just leave it at that, because if you've seen in my other videos that, yeah, there's been people that have been stalking me. So we're just gonna leave it at that. And I'm living my life as authentically as I can in the privacy of my home, while knowing that I'm being watched and not understanding completely how, which is very scary sometimes. And why people would want to watch me, it just blows my mind. It just blows my mind. I'm just trying to live my life, heal trauma. Like, I've been triggered in flight or fight for like weeks and months at a time, it seems like. It comes and goes, but no matter what, I'm still enjoying my life, and I'm still being creative and doing what I need to do. I've come out of that heightened state quite a bit, and I think I'm pretty level right now. But anyone who has gone through the traumas and gets reignited with trauma day after day after day, it can be a lot when you get mind fucked. It can be a lot. So I'm just doing the best I can, being gentle with myself and holding space and feeling my feelings and doing all the things that one would do in the privacy of their own home. And I guess guilt and shame. So that's why I wanted to talk about guilt and shame, because these people, I'm curious, like, do you feel any remorse, any sense of guilt or shame, or any other, like, it almost seems like they enjoy it, which is wildly fascinating to me. I don't have a degree in psychology. I don't have any whatever in psychology other than what I, took in college, which was forever ago. And it was just classes, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this, so that's why I'm my hope is that these people who are doing this can maybe learn something. Not like I'm this great fucking guru. I'm not claiming to be anything, but I am somebody who's been through a lot of shit in their life, and somebody who, despite everything they've been through, I believe still I have a kind heart. I'm loving. I do have love for these people. It's weird. I mean, I do have love for these people. I don't have to like their behavior and agree with what they're doing. But that doesn't mean I have to hate them, because why would I hate people? It doesn't do me any fucking good to hate somebody. I don't have to bother with them. Maybe on some level I need to interact with them. And that's about all I'm willing to say about that in this public post. But wildly, the whole process has broken me completely open to be the best version of myself. So even though there's all this other shit going on, it's like I have grown so much. And so yeah, I jumped on to talk about guilt and shame and how literally it suppressed me and almost killed me at the same time. And I guess I'm just wondering, like, how do people cope with guilt and shame? Do you ignore it? How do people live with that? Because I know for me to live with it, it was very difficult. I lashed out. I can't say how I treated other people. I just remember how excuse me. I don't know what that's about, if I'm releasing something or what, but I treated my spouse pretty horribly in the beginning, through no fault of hers. Projection, perhaps, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not like a psychologist. I don't know. My point is if you're going through it, please maybe seek professional help or speak to a therapist, a counselor. Like, obviously that would be professional help, right? Because life is worth living, and to hold on to those negative, I don't know, the emotions, whatever the fuck they are, the negativity. You deserve a life full of greatness and love and light and happiness and freedom. And if there's something like that that's weighing you down, you deserve to have the life of your dreams. And I would implore anybody to go on a self-discovery journey. And that's what I've been doing in my home, is just self-discovery on every level. And having the space to do that, regardless of who may or may not be watching me at every point. So it's beautiful. My brother, well, not that it's weird segue. It's beautiful. My brother died in 2020. So it's not beautiful he died, but maybe we'll get to that. It sounds horrible to say, but maybe in a beautiful way it is, because I am so close with him now. We weren't really close in the 3D. So there's a lot of things, like I said, going on in my life that I want to call him, because he might know what to do in some certain situations. But at the same time, I think I might be wildly disappointed if he were still alive. So he and I, we talk so much. I'm like, we get full fucking blown conversations, right? So like, if these people are watching me and I'm like this all the time, like I'm literally having a conversation with him in spirit, and it's beautiful. I was out on a walk today, and hold on, let me see if hold on. Okay. I had to check with self to see how much I wanted to share, because, I like to keep some things private. I mean, especially after what's been going on in my home. I had a moment today in regards to my brother, and it was beautiful. So I'm fucking bawling my eyes out, right? And before, if I was outside in public and I was doing that, I would be embarrassed and I'd be like trying to hide. I'm talking about fucking snot, just like trying to blow my nose, and snot's getting all over my clothes, not these clothes. I did change my jacket. What a beautiful thing for me to feel, because it used to be I couldn't cry, right? I would have to be extremely emotionally moved to cry, which his death was one, right? My marriage ending was another. And before that, couldn't tell you. My spouse would always cry very easily, and I'm like, how are you doing that? How are you doing that? And she's a she said she's a sensitive person, right? And I am too, but I couldn't just let it come. And I don't know why, and I'm not going to assume or project or analyze that right now. For whatever reason, in this space, I feel safe and comfortable. This, despite what's been going on in my space, I feel very safe. I've never felt more safe in a space. Is that because I'm alone? I don't know. I think when we're alone and we have that time where there's not another person around, we can process. But even when I was home alone on my days off, do you think I was sitting there bawling my eyes out? Fuck no. Fuck no. It's like my feelings and the capacity for me to feel have grown exponentially. Like, did I say that right? I think you get what I mean. What a blessing. As my therapist would say, the container has grown. I think at this point it's just beautiful, and I am so appreciative that I can feel emotions. I didn't have the capacity. I did have the capacity, or who knows. I'm starting to feel a little disassociated at the moment. I'm starting to feel a little bit lightheaded. So I'm not really sure why I'm feeling this feeling. I did cry, like I said, quite a bit, and that sometimes can make me feel stoned. Kind of like I'm like, but I know I'm grounded. So anyways, I guess let's just end this. Excuse me again. Very interesting. So if you're dealing with guilt and shame, there's nothing wrong with that. You're perfect just the way you are. Just know that if it's weighing heavy on you, there is a way out. I promise you. I swear it. I promise you there's a way out of it. Therapy worked for me. Something else might work for you. Therapy might work for you. I don't know. But don't give up. And if you're going through something difficult and you feel like you're alone, I promise you, I swear it, I promise you so hardcore, you're not alone. Because I feel oftentimes that I'm alone, even though I have a very best friend who I share like everything with, right? And she gets me and she validates me and understands me, and it's a beautiful relationship that I'm so grateful for. But sometimes, I mean, she's not available. She's not like a fucking main line to my vein, like 24/7, right? I got to deal with life on my own, and it's me and it's God. I mean, I'm spiritual. I call it the entity God, call it whatever you want to call it. But there is something greater than myself in this world. And I trust me, I trust God, and my faith is my strongest asset. So if you're going through shit right now, hang on. Just take one breath, one step, one something, 1 second at a time. And sometimes, I've been kind of okay. I've been up and down, but there's times this whole situation has brought me, the whole stalking situation has brought me to my knees. It has brought me to my knees in prayer, in faith, in love, sometimes in desperation, because I don't understand it. I don't think I'm that fascinating, but apparently I am. And that's maybe one of the reasons why I started doing these. Thank you, whoever you are. Because I've been processing through speaking on voice recordings and videos and processing my life. And it's helped me when I speak it out and process and kind of like play devil's advocate or just speak and process spoken words. I think cool, especially when I go into what I call channel, and I do that a lot. Like when I'm stoned, I can do that more freely. it's been helpful. So if I can somehow help somebody else, then that's great. I mean, I know it helps me. So like I said, if you're going through shit, hang the fuck on. Reach out for help. And if you feel like you're alone, like I said, I promise you are not alone. I'm here. And I wish you all the best.